There we go.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's it.
Good evening. It is now 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call the regular Cultural Heritage Commission meeting of June 16th, 2022 to order. Before I proceed, I'd like to take a moment to go over our meeting protocols for today. The South Pasadena Cultural Heritage Commission meeting scheduled for today will be conducted in both in-person and virtually via Zoom to maximize public safety while still maintaining transparency and public access. Members of the public can observe the meeting via Zoom. Roll call.
Okay, we will do a roll call. Commissioner Cross. Commissioner Lopez.
Here.
Commissioner Morris. Here. Vice Chair Gallatin.
Here.
Chair Thompson.
Here.
You have quorum.
Okay, commissioners and staff, do you have any requests for additions, revisions to the agenda? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing no request, I'd like a vote of the commission to proceed with the approval of the agenda as submitted. Commissioner Cross? We're looking for approval of the agenda. Isn't this how we always do
Yeah,
it?
I think she just is a voice vote.
Do you want to submit a silent vote? Yes. Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris, Vice Chair Gallatin,
Yes.
and I myself, yes. Let's see. Next is disclosure by commissioners of the site visits and ex parte contact for items on today's agenda. Did anybody visit or have any doings with the sites on today's agenda?
Yes, I drove by the site for item number 4 at 1103 Hope.
And as did I.
Me too, no contact.
Thank you very much. I did not. I've been on Zoom a lot looking at it. Okay, now it's time for public comment. Staff, did we receive any public comments? Comment in person or via Zoom for the item number 1, public comment?
We do have 3 via Zoom public comments. If they would raise their hands to give any public comment, they may do so at this time. No hands are risen.
Okay, thank you. Next item of the, do we have any public comments here in the chamber? Okay.
Do we have any public comments in chambers? We do not.
The next item on the agenda is a consent calendar item for 525 Floral Park Terrace, which will be presented to the commission. I would now like to invite staff to provide the commission with the background.
Sorry, Chair. So item number 2 on the agenda will be a reorganization of the Cultural Heritage Commission and for chair and vice chair selection.
Yeah, it wasn't script.
Apparently there's a discrepancy. I'm sorry, there was a mistake here. Okay. Second item of matter of business, housekeeping. Cultural Heritage Commission is up for reorganizing itself, and we should select a chair and vice chair.
In the interest of making this short, because we have a public hearing in front of us, I would love to make a motion that Mr. Mark Gallatin become the chair of the Cultural Heritage Commission. again, 'cause he's
second.
So wonderful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words from my colleagues and I reluctantly but graciously accept.
Should we vote on that? Let's do that very fast.
Yes.
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 Is it something we have to vote on? I can't remember. It's been so
We
long.
just did. We just all voted yes.
Oh.
Who would like, would Conrado, who would like to be the vice chair? Conrado, I would also like to make a motion that Conrado Lopez is our vice chair.
Great.
And Rebecca gets her life back. I mean, would you like, should we vote also?
Will need a
Robert.
second.
I'll
s-
second.
Oh, you need a
I'm
second.
the secondary
Okay,
tonight.
Rebecca seconded it. And now shall we vote?
Yes.
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 Mr.
Yes.
President.
Look at that.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Yes.
Do I get to vote?
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Okay.
And I vote
There
also,
we go.
but I can't anymore because I'm no longer chair. Yay. Okay. Well, made
So-
today worthwhile.
Now we go on to our public hearing.
I
Item number
believe so.
4. Oh, no, you've got to talk about item number 3.
Yes,
Yeah.
item number 3, please.
So thank you, Chair Gallatin and Vice Chair Lopez. So I know the
Yes, staff, if we could please have your report on item number 3. And this begins our public hearings tonight. This is for 525 Floral Park Terrace.
Hello and good evening, new chair, and members of the Cultural Heritage Commission. My name is Braulio Madrid, and I am one of the 3 associate planners here, proudly serving the city of South Pasadena. In regards to item number 3, 525 Floral State Terrace, the applicant has asked to delay the project into an undetermined date, so that he can get some design features worked out with the owner. That memo was included as part of your staff, your agenda packet.
Thank you, Braulio. Does anyone on the commission have any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, then I guess we will need a motion and a vote to continue this to a future date.
I would motion that we continue 525 Floral Park Terrace to a date not yet determined.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion and second. I guess we can do a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. All right, then let's turn to our next public hearing, and that's agenda item number 4 at 1103 Hope Street. This is a certificate of appropriateness application to add a 162 square foot addition to an existing 1,097 square foot, 1-story, single-family residence. Mr. Madrid.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, staff. The subject site is located within the Mission Street Specific Plan, also known as MSSP. The property is located on the southeast corner of Hope Street and Fairview Avenue. The west property is developed as a commercial property, while the properties to the north, south, and east are developed with single-family residences. Here's a street view of the subject property. The residence is designed in a craftsman style. The home was originally constructed in 1922 and is included as part of the city's inventory of historical resources list. The subject site is currently developed with a 1,097 square foot, 1-story, single-family home and a 172 square foot detached garage. The proposed project is asking for a 162 square foot addition. The property measures in total approximately 3,581 square feet. As briefly mentioned, the subject site is located within the core area of the Mission Street specific plan. That core area is also labeled District C. The property has a historical designation of 5D1 for being locally designated as a potential contributor. The existing home is a 2-bedroom and 1-bath residence. No new rooms will be created as part of this proposal. The proposed 162 square foot addition is divided into 3 different additions. The first is a 37 square foot addition proposed at the front of the home. This will expand the existing living room by approximately 4 feet into the front porch. The second addition is a rear addition of approximately 99 square feet. This will help expand the existing kitchen and dining area. And the last addition is located at the east of the property. It's a 26 square foot addition that will enlarge the existing bathroom. The last proposed structure is a 1 foot 8 inch high 93 square foot deck to access the dining and kitchen area. Before moving forward into the conversation of development standards, staff would like to make a quick note about the staff report in the agenda packet. The table with development standards has illustrated the total proposed FAR as 12,593 square feet. I would like to clarify that the actual square footage is 1,259 square feet as written in the report and development plans. The applicable development standards were obtained from various sections of the Mission Street specific plan and the South Pasadena Municipal Code. The MSSP was written in 1996 and refers to development standards for residential properties to the South Pasadena Municipal Code, the chapter regarding R3 zone development standards. Since the zoning classification has been updated, the R3 zone translates to an RH zone for residential high density in today's code. In regards to parking standards, although normally a 2-car garage is required for a single-family property, the proposed project was submitted concurrently with an ADU application. Thus, the garage will be converted into an ADU and no additional on-site parking will be required as regulated by the state and the ADU ordinance. As a reminder, the ADU will be approved administratively and it's not part of this review. Section 36.360.090 of the South Pasadena Municipal Code, under alteration to nonconforming structures, allows proposed additions to nonconforming buildings to comply with the existing nonconforming setbacks, but cannot propose any further encroachments into those setbacks. The proposed additions for this project will maintain the existing setbacks and will not be encroaching any further. The existing single-family dwelling was developed in a craftsman style. I'll be going over a few project design elements that will support the project in being compliant to the city's zoning code and design guidelines. The addition proposes to simulate the existing floor plan, proposing minimal modifications to the existing character of the home. The addition will incorporate wood trims, asphalt roof shingles, and custom wood windows and doors to match the existing historic character of the home. With the addition, the applicant is proposing to maintain the same style and orientation of the roof as it exists today. The proposed modification will not alter the front perspective of the existing residence along the northern side of Hope Street. The westerly side modifications will also simulate the existing style along Fairview Avenue. Here we have a plot plan of the existing and proposed. In blue, you will be able to identify the home additions while in red, you'll be able to identify the deck. The new roof addition will be located at the rear, and it will follow the existing roof lines. The floor plan to the left is of the existing, while the floor plan to the right is of the proposed. As mentioned to you, the 3 additions will be only to expand and have better use of the existing rooms. Here we have the north elevation, which is also the front on Hope Street. The blue highlighted portion is identifying the area in which will be modified. As mentioned, because the addition will be very similar to the existing style, very little modifications will be identified as part of this front facade. The west elevation is the side elevation that is located on Fairview Avenue. Again, in blue, you'll be able to see the highlighted area that will be affected by the proposed additions. The east elevation is from the interior lots. The blue portion will be the extension of the bathroom that's proposing a 26 square foot addition. And lastly, the south elevation is the one located at the rear. This is probably the most modified elevation out of all 4. However, it continues to maintain the existing character of the craftsman style, while highlighting, I'm sorry, while maintaining also the same style of the roof. As proposed, the project is appropriate to the size, massing, and design context of the historic residence and the surrounding area. The project meets all applicable development standards of the Mission Street specific plan, the South Pasadena Municipal Code, as well as the SOI guidelines by the state. The building materials, finishes, and detailing are compatible with the existing historical character style design of the residence. The neighborhood is comprised of a variety of single and 2-story single-family residents. The property adjacent to the west is developed as commercial, while the rest of the neighborhood will be residential buildings. With that, staff would like to recommend the Cultural Heritage Commission approve the certification of appropriateness number 2446 COA with the conditions of approval. Staff would like to thank you for your time. I would like to let you know that staff is here to answer any questions you may have, as well as the property owners, and the applicant is available through Zoom.
Thank you, staff. Good presentation. We'll start with questions of staff from the commission. And so I will ask okay, I'll start with Vice Chair Lopez. Do you have any questions of staff?
No, no questions.
Okay, Commissioner Thompson.
No questions.
Okay. Commissioner Morris,
No questions for staff?
Commissioner Cross,
No questions.
I just have 2 really quick questions. And I believe I heard you say that with respect to parking, there's no new parking required in this case, correct?
That is
Okay.
correct.
It says on page 3 of the staff report that therefore replacement parking or expansion of the existing garage will be required as part of this addition, but I wanted to make sure that that's okay. Exactly. Okay, thank you. My second final question had to do with the fence that's being proposed. Is that part of our review tonight?
Usually the fence is something that would be proposed and approved through a plan check process. In regards to the full scope of the proposed work, and because it has been included as part of the project, you may provide any comments or additional suggestions in regards to the proposed fencing Ultimately, it is a compliant fence, but we would be approving that through the plan check process.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, do we have a presentation from the applicant? No? Okay. Do we have any questions for the applicant? And I'll start this time with Commissioner Cross.
I have just one concern, and that is the garage appears to be, the existing garage, converted garage appears to be built at the property line. And what type of fire regulations do you incur with that?
Staff will go ahead and address your question. So as part of the plan check process, fire will also be involved as part of the review. I can't recall the exact codes for fire, but there are mitigation measures such as fire rated walls that have to be complied with per today's code.
Oh, no, that's my only thought that I have.
Good question. Thank you.
Commissioner Morris, you have a question.
So lacking a presentation from the architect, I just had a couple questions about the windows and the doors. I noticed that a lot of the original doors and, well, a couple of the original doors and windows are being replaced by new windows and doors. Is there, one of the standards of the Secretary of Interior standards is to reuse as many product, things from the original house that you can? Are those doors and windows in any way reused, or are they just so old they're trash?
Actually, I think I'd like to let the property owner answer this question for you.
Thank you for having us. Our intention is to rehabilitate and restore whatever we can on the property with regard to the windows and doors.
So some of the front door, I think, and then the windows on either adjacent to the front door, I
Mhm.
think are talked about being replaced. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at the house that closely.
I think if we look at the
Well, the
keynote
drawings, They're
on the
coded
drawing,
as
Yeah.
Right.
demolished.
right,
So
And
they're
even in the
out.
window and door
The
schedules,
225.
most of them are supposed to be replaced.
yeah. If you look at keynote 08.02, new custom-made wood windows to match existing in size, proportions, material, opening type, sash, trim, sills, dividers, paint frames black, provide wood window trim to match original size and profile, paint trim white. So yeah, it indicates all new windows.
So the windows-
And we are open to all suggestions and complying with whatever you request.
Are you familiar with the windows that were spec for the new windows that you were going to put in?
Well, what our plan was to match them as best as possible with energy efficiency and whatnot. But if that is something that the commission does not want or suggest, we're open to just complying with whatever.
One of
Yeah.
the standards for historic houses
Mhm.
is to use as many of the original things as you can.
Yes.
Those windows and the wood windows and the wood front door are kind of significant to that house. And I think the new windows that are being proposed have just grids on them. They're not true divided light windows.
Mhm.
Are you familiar?
They're
with
very light. And yeah, Braulio is familiar with them. But my architect is online as
them?
well.
Okay,
Great.
okay,
And so he could probably speak to that as well,
Okay,
and as
that's
well as my designer.
okay. Yeah, they could probably talk to the
Mhm.
new versus the existing windows.
Yes,
just curious.
absolutely. But we're fine with restoring and rehabilitating whatever we can.
Okay, it looks like we have Mr. Ray Suyan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Has his hand raised here on Zoom. Mr. Suyan, welcome. And we're at the point in our hearing where we're taking questions from the commissioners. And there was a question raised by Commissioner Morris about the existing windows and the potential for reusing any of them. I know the plans indicate that all the windows will be new. The homeowner has just indicated to us that they would be open to the reuse of those windows that can be. I just wondered if you, as the architect or designer, had additional information for us.
Yes, yeah, first of all, thank you for having us here and listening to our presentation.
Excuse me, can you speak up a little bit louder? We are unable to hear you.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me better?
A little bit
Oh,
more?
hello? Yeah. How
Okay,
about,
thank
how
you.
about now? Okay,
Perfect.
yeah, so the purpose of the windows, the keynote, I think, was actually supposed to be a different keynote. It's actually supposed to be 02.23, which is keeping the existing windows and only making it operable as needed per code. With regards to the front facing window adjacent to the main door, those can be reused depending on the condition. Once we demolish that wall, we would advise the builder to try and keep as much as possible what's there, and try to maintain the integrity of the window so that when we replace them, they would still be in good shape and repair as needed. So yes, it is possible to reuse those windows, and the intent is to um, keep as much of the windows as we can, and only make operable the ones that per code that needs to be operable, like in bedrooms for egress.
I'd like to add that the planning department, or especially or specifically Matt, has links to the Secretary of the Interior's website and several other websites on suggestions on how to reuse windows, how to rehabilitate them, rehabilitate, depends if they drink. But it also tells you how to weatherproof them as much as possible. As it stands, really bad windows tend to lose 10% of the energy lost in a house. It's not much. And by weatherproofing them, you'll save a lot of money, but instead of buying new windows, and you will retain the look of the original windows, which is really hard to replicate. So I suggest that you contact planning and maybe get a hold of those links that'll help you put notes on your drawings. Also, we'd like to see for any new windows that are necessary, we'd like to see actual detailing instead of just how the trim will look. And also just calling it out a block, when I'm happy that they're block as opposed to nail on. We need to know exactly how it'll interact, or how the trim around the window, the siding and the interior, the sill, how that will be framed up in any new situation, any new window locations.
Commissioner Thompson, I wanted to
Okay.
add also, in addition to the links that you referenced, I provided the planning staff this week, I believe it was, with another document that I got at a conference I went to last week, which is, I think it's Preservation Brief number 9 from the
Oh,
Department of
that's
the
on-
Interior.
That's
Oh, it's on there. Okay, well, now you
I
have it
just saw it
twice.
today.
So, okay. All right, great. Okay. Commissioner Morris, did you have any further questions for the owner or the architect?
I heard most of what the architect said, but I think he said we'll, to the extent that we can reuse any of the existing doors and windows, we will do that.
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
great. All right.
I did. Oh, in places where the additions are, we recommend that there's some sort of differentiation between existing and proposed or new. So that I guess 1,000 years from now, when archaeologists dig it up, they'll know what the original floor plan was and what it looked like originally. So we do some sort of change in the siding and scale often, or window detailing, the trim slightly different, so that it doesn't jump out at you, but it is obviously different. Any idiot will know from the framing that it's new from 1922, but we do want some visual cues also from the architect.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I didn't understand this in the beginning, but a historic house, you would think if you're putting addition on it, you want to make it look as much like the original house, but in order to respect the original historic nature, you want to make it look, make everyone know it's different. It was added on later on, though it still matches. It still, you know, is
Similar.
compatible, but
Yeah.
it's slightly different. Maybe the siding is slightly skinnier or slightly wider or something like that. So
Sure.
that you could tell that it's different, but it still matches. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I couldn't tell immediately in the plans either whether that was happening or not. Do you know off the top of your head? Whether those teeny little areas that you're changing?
We will do whatever you suggest.
Well, do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, yeah,
Yes, it
okay,
makes
all right.
sense.
Somehow I think you could talk with the architect and decide a little way to differentiate those, because they're tiny little spaces. I appreciate what you guys are doing, but
It's great.
I mean, it's a great little design, but still those little spaces should probably be
Sure.
differentiated a little bit.
I was ready to nix what he was doing in the front there, but it really made it more useful in there to have more of a bit of foyer as you walk in, a sense of entry, a coat closet, which is great.
Mhm.
You're making it more useful, and if we can reutilize the existing door and windows, I don't think anybody will notice. So, except you, it'll be more useful. So I think it's just great.
Thank you.
I'm really pleased.
Okay, well, we're still in questions from the commission and Commissioner Thompson, did you have any additional questions? Okay, how about you, Vice Chair Lopez?
No questions.
Okay,
Right, Chair, we do have, well, never mind, continue. He does, he raised his hand again. The
okay,
architect?
yes, Mr. Surayan, if you would go ahead.
Yes, hi. Yeah, with regards to the differentiation of the addition part, what we're proposing is to provide wood sidings that is similar in size, but what we could do is provide a trim that would still kind of identify where the existing and new, sort of like something that would divide those two areas. But as far as the wood siding, it would still match the size and profile. That way it would not look, you know, too off from the original house. But like you said, if in the future someone would want to identify what the existing footprint of the house is, it could still be easily identifiable. If that's okay.
Yeah, I think there are many ways to achieve the differentiation standard. Some of them are quite subtle, some of them are more pronounced, but certainly the method that you've outlined is certainly one that we've seen on other cases, and I'm sure would be an acceptable approach.
Thank you.
If you'll stay on the line, I just have a couple of questions for you. First one is actually just a comment on sheet A 3.3. The elevations have a keynote 8.02, but it's missing in your keynote legend. So just make sure you pick that up on plan check. And then on sheet A 5.2 on your new window schedule, it indicates that many of the new windows are simulated lights, simulated divided lights. And I would recommend, if it's not required, I would recommend that you provide at plan check an illustration of how that's being achieved, because depending on the window manufacturer and the quality of the windows, sometimes that can be almost indistinguishable from a true divided light, and other times it's not executed so elegantly. So I think we'd want to see a detail on that. Also, on that new window schedule, for those new windows where it says the existing lights are divided, there's an asterisk after the word divided, but I didn't see anything indicating what the asterisk means. If you could tell me what that is, please.
I would have to get back to you on that because I believe we've made some revisions currently, just recently to the plans, and there's supposed to be a note somewhere at the bottom, which
Mhm.
for some reason is not clear. So I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay, I don't think it's relevant for our purposes tonight, but again, make a note of it and when you submit for plan check, either eliminate that asterisk or provide a definition of what it means. And lastly, on this a new window schedule, there are windows 60 and 61 called out, and I couldn't find them on the floor plan. Are they still part of the plan?
I'm sorry, you're looking at the existing window schedule
No, the new window
or
schedule.
the new window schedule, 60 and 61.
Mhm.
Yes, again, I would have to go back to you because the very recent plans that I sent to the planning department does not have the 60 and 61. So it may be probably an older file that you're looking at, but I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, appreciate it. The next thing I wanted to mention was the front porch and the concrete wall at the base of the porch. In going out to look at the property, I saw that on the west side, at the northwest corner of that porch base, there's a very large crack there. And I didn't see that being addressed in your scope of work. I saw a note about plaster porch foundation wall to be removed. So can you tell me if that's going to be addressed as part of this work or at a later date?
Yes, yeah, so the house will be rehabbed to make it as functional as it can be and to make it, to improve the quality of the structure and everything, including all those damage that is visible. So that those items will have to be included in the scope, although it's not specifically mentioned here in this presentation. So we will be addressing those items.
Mhm. Yeah, you may want to have that porch evaluated further because the crack was pretty substantial. I want to say, I didn't measure it, but it looked to be about 2 inches wide. And I would hate to see collapse of that, that porch structure.
Okay,
Um,
thank you for bringing that up.
mhm. Last comment, this is more of an editorial on fences. Staff indicated that we could comment on the fence, although fences routinely are approved administratively. I have no problem at all with the proposed fence here. But I would have a problem with a process where a project comes before the CHC and included in that scope is a new fence. And we have to act on that fence when the neighbor next door, for example, who's not doing anything to their home, could come in with an application for a fence and get it approved over the counter. I think in an ideal world, at least a planner's ideal world, would be that all fences on historic properties get reviewed either as a chair review or before this commission. But that's just a suggestion. And again, I'll restate, I have no problem at all with the fence that's being proposed here tonight. Okay, well, that concludes our questions. So now I will open the public hearing. Staff, were there any public comments for this item?
We do have one public comment in chambers, Mr. Gavin Wasserman. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Welcome, Mr. Wasserman.
Hello, thank you very much. I am not a paid spokesperson. I'm just another parent. We know each other from Marengo Elementary School. And I remember being here with my wife some years ago, talking about our plans for our dream house, and the years have passed. And I just wanted to come to support their plans for their dream house. And listening to what this commission's been saying, I think less said by me is more. So I just think it's really great, the direction you're going in improving this. And I really hope that they get a chance to jump on and move forward and really enjoy this, because they're a great family. I'm glad that they're taking on this task. You know, over the years, we've seen some great families who haven't had the bravery or the resources or the time to stick around. And it's great to see that they're still going to be here. I get to see Priscilla doing her type A volunteering, and I get to hear from Quentin about, you know, flying the A130 gunship that he flew. Well, now he doesn't fly, you know, he flies for United. But I won't embarrass Quentin. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm just really happy for this family. Thank you.
Thank you. And staff, did we have any public comments on Zoom?
We do not have at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wasserman's comment was ditto.
Yeah.
For the written one. that
Oh,
came
yes, we did
earlier.
get the written one
It's
supplied
almost
to us.
exactly
earlier.
the same verbatim. For another neighbor, wrote a letter. We'll have to look into that.
There'll be a full investigation of that, Mr. Wasserman. Yeah. But, okay. All right. So this is the opportunity for the applicant to have a rebuttal, a 3-minute rebuttal, if they choose to. So applicant, would you care to rebut anything? All right. Thank you. Okay. At this point, I'll close the public hearing and we'll have commission discussion. And who would like to go first?
I will.
Okay.
I think this is I like that they're tackling a little historic house and they're doing modest little things to it to make it more livable. And I appreciate the architect's willingness to work with this on the windows. That's hugely important, I think. And the door and the differentiation. I think you guys can work that out very well. I would recommend approval.
Okay. Any other discussion? Commissioner Cross?
No comments. I would just echo what she says.
All right. Vice Chair Lopez?
Ditto.
And that's right. Yeah. And Commissioner Thompson?
Same. I'm so pleased you're embracing the house you bought and making it better. It is more useful for today's families than what you're doing to it, but it won't deter from the original design. It's a really cute house.
Yeah.
I hope it goes really well and smoothly for you.
Yeah. And
It'll take forever.
I'll just conclude by saying, again, thank you for proposing this project. I think this shows what historic preservation is all about in South Pasadena. Some folks have the mistaken perception that if you have a historic home in our city, you can't do anything to it. You can't touch it. But you've demonstrated that if you are sensitive in your design and thoughtful in the future use of the structure to meet the needs of your growing family, that you can have it both ways. You can have a historic home and you can have one that functions for your needs and still preserves the historic character of the neighborhood. So again, very good, very impressive with this project. Okay, well, I think it's now time for a vote. So if someone would like to make a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve this project as submitted. We can make the mandatory findings. We can make the project specific findings numbers 2, 5, and 8. I would condition it that they do, or just put a note on there that they reuse to the extent possible the existing windows and doors. And if they're unable to be reused, that you use true divided light wood windows to replace them similar to the existing ones. And that you do some differentiation between the small areas that you're adding onto the house.
May I add that the architects submit details on any new windows, so we can see the way they'll fit within the wall.
Good idea.
Okay, so we have a motion with 3 additional conditions. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion and second. So we will now take roll call, beginning with Vice Chair Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner Morrish,
Yes,
and Commissioner Cross.
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So the project is approved unanimously, 5-0. And again, thank you to the applicant for sitting through this and good luck on your project.
about that. Irregular there.
Yeah, they're right around the corner from Heirloom too.
Oh,
lucky
and
guys.
there's heirloom, yeah.
Yeah.
Tomato pie pizza not far.
Mhm.
Could be good. All right. Do you have to do that?
Okay. Oh, I didn't have the verbiage in front of me. Unless you know where it is.
I don't know this off the top of my head, but the project has been approved by us. There's a 15-day appeal process. If somebody decided to appeal our decision, there's 15 days, so you can't commence construction or something until I don't have the words in front of me, for 15 days. But once that goes by, you guys are well on your way. Good luck to you. Okay?
I know, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeopardy's not on until 10:30, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that concludes our public hearings for tonight. So we'll now move into the administration section of our agenda, which we start off every meeting with comments from our city council liaison, council members Znaimer. You have anything to report or share for us?
I'd like to share that I had been your liaison for over a year now, and I'm truly impressed with your detailed analysis and your care, and in analyzing each and every project. And it was just very impressive, and I really appreciate your expertise and your valuable contribution. And it makes me want to be the liaison for another year, but if mayor permits me to. But I really truly enjoyed everyone else's work. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate your support and that of the entire council. Okay, next to comment is comments from commissioners. So I will start to my left here with Commissioner Cross. Any comment for us, Bill?
I would just ask that we close the meeting in the memory of Ray Gravigian,
Mhm.
architect here in South Pasadena, who is really the original historic preservation architect in California. He was he started by saving Watts Towers or participating in Watts Towers. He served as the first historic American building survey in DC. He was appointed the first historical architect in California. He was recognized by AIA as a fellow. He was a freeway fighter of the 710 early on. And he was instrumental in saving the state capitol building, which I had heard stories. And one was, and I can't remember who told me this, but he was in Jerry Brown's office meeting over whether to save or restore the Capitol building. And he says, I've got to catch a plane. And Jerry Brown said, stay here. We'll get you to the airport. And he was given a police escort to the survey for staying there. And I wish I could remember who told me that story. But he was truly an amazing person. And I'd just like us to close the meeting remembering him.
Thank you, Bill. I just want to add to that because had you not suggested it, I was going to suggest it when it was my turn to adjourn in his memory. Additional accomplishments of Mr. Gravigian. He was the first and original chair of this body back in 1972. So we in South Pasadena really lost a giant in the last week, and a giant on whose shoulders myself and all of us stand here on the CHC. Mr. Gavigian was also very instrumental in the early years of the South Pasadena Preservation Foundation, which came about, I think, in 1974, 2 years after this body was formed. Mr. Gavigian was also a almost lifelong member of St. James Episcopal Church here in South Pasadena, and did the landmark nomination for that building, in addition to another number of other landmarks that we have in the city. Let's see. Yes, I think, well, he lived on Oak Lawn. And yeah, I think he may have contributed or written the landmark designation for the Oak Lawn neighborhood. But in any event, quite a man, somebody that we all owe a big debt to. If we call ourselves preservationists here in South Pasadena, we could do no better than following in the footsteps of Ray Gavigian. Commissioner Morris.
Made enough comments for the evening. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Thompson.
No comments.
Okay.
I would just like to add to Ray Gavigian's resume that I had the pleasure to serve with him in the Buildings and Grounds Committee at St. James for many, many years with him. I have. I'm still a part of the committee, and true giant and a true gentleman.
I would add also that there will be a memorial service at St. James this Saturday at 11 a.m. For Mr. Gavigian, if anyone wishes to attend. Okay, next up is comments from subcommittees. Do I hear any subcommittees? No. Okay. Comments from the South Pasadena Preservation Foundation liaison. Well, two things. Number one is the annual meeting of SPPF is coming up here later this month. It's going to be on Sunday, June the 26th at 5 p.m. at the home of Odom and Kate Stamps at 318 Fairview. And in addition to a brief business meeting at which we'll elect officers for the coming year, and we'll also have a state of the foundation address. We also this year are going to have a panel of experts on the Mills Act. And so we hope to educate those in attendance and be able to get their questions answered about the Mills Act program. I understand that one of the panelists may even be our distinguished planning manager, Matt Chang. I've already gotten a commitment from Debbie Howell-Ardilla, our former commissioner, and I'm working on John Lisak. So, you know, we hope to have a really, like I said, a panel of experts on the Mills Act to educate folks about that program and answer any questions that they might have. Okay, well, I think that was it for me. So I guess it's time for comments from staff.
Good evening, Chair Gallatin, Cultural Heritage Commissioners. Just a few comments here. As a reminder, this Wednesday is the Commissioners Congress, and it starts at 6 p.m. at the War Memorial Building. Hopefully you've all RSVP'd already, and we will see you there. Last night, the City Council passed the budget, and from what I understand, it was the first time in several years that the city passed it on time. So we were all very excited about that. For the Community Development Department, good news for us. We included in the budget a item for a historic resources inventory. I think we talked about it a little bit the last time. So pleased that it was passed. Additionally, for community development, it includes 3 positions, 1 full-time senior management analyst to assist with the implementation of the housing element, and as well as the Caltrans surplus properties. That's going to be coming up real soon. Also a full-time planning countertech. The department historically has had 3 management interns, which as I came in 6 months ago and kind of made an assessment of the department, 3 management interns. While great work product comes from interns, frankly, the department is in need of 1 full-time person to deal with school schedules and, in and out of interns coming and going. We really need consistency in the department, as you all know. So pleased that that was approved. Also a part-time code enforcement officer. And see, next update. In anticipation of Caltrans releasing surplus unoccupied properties, which they're supposed to do by June 30th, the city has released an RFP for inspection services of the homes. I have spoken with Caltrans recently and have a meeting scheduled for Monday. They do hope to release those homes sooner rather than later. I've been told they do not want to wait till June 30th. So all of this is going to pick up real quick. Additionally, the city continues to work with SPPF in an MOU to evaluate some of the homes. And we think we're getting there. Mark, as I look out, Mark. Finally, we do have 2 open recruitments. We are still trying to fill some of the vacancies in the department. We have an assistant planner position as well as the deputy director position. I may have announced at the last meeting that we had made an offer. Unfortunately, we lost that person to another city, larger city. We can compete with the very large cities and very large budgets. It is what it is, but that's okay. I believe there's a question about minutes at the last meeting. We did upload some of the minutes. We now have on the website up to September of 2020. And I do want to announce that we are bringing on some additional help specifically to help us with minutes, not just the Cultural Heritage Commission, but with all of our commissions. We realize that we are a little behind on those. So we are dedicating resources there. And that was all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Angelica, can I make a comment with regards to the packets that we received? First of all, thank you to staff for having those available early for us. I think I picked mine up on Monday. And then we have a duplicate one here tonight. And then the only thing I would suggest maybe as a possible improvement, is it possible to get these in a binder, in a 3-ring binder? It's really hard to do this, flipping back. If I had to take the thing out and turn the pages, it'd be easier if it was in a binder. Well, we could reuse the binders every month,
There are also ways to print so that the backside isn't upside down.
Mm.
It's a setting on the copier. So maybe.
Oh, yeah, put it in the
But
proper
I think it's an
perspective.
easy setting.
Thank you. We will do that.
All right. Okay, well, if there's no further business, then we will adjourn tonight's meeting in the memory of the late Ray Gravigian. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.